found another R. How about a 1991 R? Yeah, Z50r Mini Bike. I'm telling y'all, get you an ad, put it out there. If you've got a smartphone, there's no reason why you can't find something. I'm telling you, it's not that hard. Facebook Marketplace, Let Go, Craigslist, somewhere you can put an ad and says, hey, and if it gets taken down in 2 weeks, who cares? Let them take it down. In 2 weeks, you'll reach 5,000 people. 5,000 people, just like I reached one. And it only takes one to come up with a 1986 Chrome Z50R, you know, or maybe an 86 250R sitting in the back, or maybe you want a 200X or a Big Red. It only takes one person to see your ad and go, hey, I've got one of those out in the shed. I ain't rode it in 10 years, or 20, or 30. I wonder what that old boy would give me for it. And the door's open. The rest is going to be up to you. All right, guys, that's how you make rent right there. So I told you all this before, and I'll tell you again because I'm a firm believer in it. Post an ad in your town. Just don't post an ad in my town. Post an ad. Tell them that you're looking for 3-wheelers, 4-wheelers, lawnmowers, mini bikes. Don't put it all in there. Pick 1 or 2 items. Tell people that's what you're looking for, and they'll come to you. A lady called me last night. Said her children rode this in the 80s. Well, it's a 91, but time passes a lot faster than we can, keep up with. Said her kids rode this. It's been sitting in the barn. As you can tell, it literally came out of a little shed, probably no bigger than, you could probably put 2 or 3 of these in, just a little old wooden homemade shed. And there you go. It runs. It runs. The carb definitely needs clean. That's, I just like to see what I can make happen with what I'm given. It's a challenge I put on myself. I don't necessarily recommend it for everybody. Carb needs to be clean. Tank is going to clean up really nice. There's actually a little bit of liquid in the bottom. I'm not going to call it gas, but the tank looks really good on the inside. That is a metal tank. Seat looks amazing. I mean, 1991, y'all. Look at this thing. Look at that seat. Look at that. There's not a tear in it. Wow, that's amazing. All original plastics intact. Front fender is not broken anywhere. I haven't really checked out these forks really good. This one's bent, so we are gonna have to put some forks on it. But hey, it's a 30-year-old mini bike. 30-year-old mini bike. This is the first time, as you've seen it live here on the video tonight. I just unloaded it. I had to wait till 9 o'clock outside. It was just too hot today to actually come out here and enjoy what I do. I could come out here and sweat, but man, that is no fun. It's been sitting in a barn ever since. She says she doesn't know how long it's been since it ran. So she contacted me. I went out to the house, I made her an offer, she accepted it, I brought it home. That is a pretty cool find right there. I'm gonna go out as far as to say original tires, half worn. Of course they're shot, but that's not the point. We're kind of assessing use here, if you will. Original tires, look at his grips. Now remember, a kid rode this, so not an adult. It's not gonna be as heavy-handed as if we were on it. Seat looks great. They probably wrecked it. I like building a story. They probably wrecked it and they bent that other fork on the other side. I'm sure this one's bent too. And they probably jostled them pretty good, and they probably didn't ride it very much. I didn't check compression. I just took a shot in the dark. I didn't clean the carburetor. You saw everything I did live as I can make it. It may not have any gears. We'll find out. I have no control over the throttle. You saw me reach for the spark plug to kill it one of the times. The switch is busted here, so we'll order a switch now that I know that it runs. I don't order any parts until I assess a vehicle. And so the reason I do that is because you're just spending good money after bad. If this thing needed a top end, or if it was grenaded in the transmission or something was really bad, I don't want to go sinking hundreds of dollars into the rest of this to find out that the motor's not any good. The value on these, of course, ranges like everything else, but cleaned up, running, riding without all this surface rust on it, about $1,500. So we're halfway there. We're running. I'll put it up on the stand, see if we can roll through some gears on it. But the throttle is all jacked up. As you see, I have no real control over the throttle. I can't turn it off except for touching these 2 wires here. The green and the black, you touch those with your finger. That is how I killed it, which actually worked out pretty well. So we can probably put this back. I didn't want it to fire up and go full tilt, so I was kind of preparing to shut it off in an emergency without a kill switch. So that's what pulling the plug would have done. Had no idea what the exhaust was going to do, if it was going to be full of dirt daubers or wasp or whatever, but it seemed to clear out real good. So that's it. That's how I assess one. I don't even wash them. There's no need. If this thing was locked up, which I checked to make sure it wasn't locked up at the seller's house, I made sure it had the right engine in it. It does have a Honda engine in it. I talk about completeness, guys. CDI's in place, OE carburetors, not one of these Amazon aftermarket carburetors, which I have used in the past, so I'm not going to completely throw them under the bus. But Originality, completeness is what you want to look for. If you can find something as original as this, even with bent forks, you know, you may even be able to straighten those. I don't know. We'll cross that bridge later. I'm not worried about it right now. My first hurdle is, does it run? Second hurdle is, will it drive? And third hurdle will be cosmetics. There you go. That's a will it run for you right there. Will it run? Yep, she'll run. And didn't smoke and was really quiet. At first I wasn't even sure, and I hope in editing I can turn this fan off some. I gotta have it out here though, it's just so hot. Wow, that's a home run right there. That is a home run. Definitely gonna need some cleanup for sure. Good bones. We know I did look at it pretty good at the seller's house, but I gotta tell y'all, this thing was cheap. I wasn't gonna nitpick it in front of the owner. There was just no need. I mean, if somebody's selling you something cheap, don't go over there and beat them up. You know, don't go over there and talk bad about, oh, it's rusty, or oh, it's a flat tire. If it's cheap, just buy it and thank them and be on your way. And I went and picked it up, and I kid you not, it was a mile from my house. Literally 1 mile from my house. So I have nothing invested in going and getting it. I looked on eBay. Of course, I picked this up today at lunch, and I looked on eBay and just looking at parts and stuff, kind of getting an assessment of what I'm going to put into it, not knowing at that point if it was going to run or not. Just kind of getting an eyeball, tires, you know, that kind of thing. What level do you want to take it? I told y'all 2-3 videos ago, on my bucket list was a little Z50R, but I wanted an 85. I'm honestly not going to be that picky. This is a pretty nice unit. Neat, neat, neat. I would have loved to have had one of these when I was about 8 or 9 years old. That would have just been, I wouldn't have come in the house until I run out of gas. Let's see if it's got any gears. Let's see if it's got a clutch in it. We're not home yet, but we're definitely well on our way. Got 8 gear. No starter fluid either, guys. That's gasoline. She is moving. We got a rear brake. Dude. There's no front brakes. We don't need front brakes, right? Sweet. All right, well, now you have to assess a project. We've got brakes in the rear, we've got transmission shifts. There's no load on it. I know somebody's gonna say, well, the clutch may still slip, and it may. One step at a time, people, one step at a time. Front brake, well, that might have something to do with it. It's gotta be hooked up to work. We'll just manually operate the brake here, and we'll see what we're working with. We'll spin it. There you go. So, functionally, we have brakes. It may need shoes, sure, but functionally all the parts are there. It does stop. You're gonna need a cable. That's amazing. All right, so now the big question. Now the big question. So I've been wanting to do a video about buying and selling. I think this would be the perfect video for that. So all the cards on the table. When you find something, you got to know what it's worth before you ever buy it. That's just a given. If you don't go If you don't know the value of something before you go look at it, you are setting yourself up to fail. As soon as I saw the pictures from the seller, I knew this is a $1,500 machine, running, riding, nice. Okay, not restored, but clean, running, riding, $1,500. $700 if you needed to part it out. So you got to make it worth your time to go and get it. So if you're going to do that, so I figured we could probably get this up and running for around $400. You take 4 away from 7, you need to buy this thing for $300 or less to be profitable. That's to cover your bases. So you can't get more than $1,500 for it in my area. Now maybe where you live is different, but I have to work under a $1,500 price point. That's running and driving. $700 not running. So now you got to figure out which is the smarter move. Do you put a couple $100s in it and get it running and driving and try to maximize your money? Or do you just punt it like it is and not worry about fixing it up? Now there's a lot of guys that do that. They just literally buy it. They don't even care if it runs. They buy it at a good price and they sell it and they're done. That works. That works for some people. That's not fun for me. That's not the part I enjoy. I enjoy coming out here and trying to make something run. Probably you do too if you're watching my channel. It's just part of what I do. It's like a puzzle. Can I figure it out? I have no formal training in small engines or big engines or nothing. I figure it out as I go, and so far that's worked out pretty well for me. Hands-on knowledge is, for me, growing up, was always the best knowledge. That's how I learned things, was doing things with my hand. I couldn't read a book and then go outside and follow up and do something. But if I went outside and took it apart, I could pretty much put it back together. There's a little learning curve there, but $1,500 cap, I paid $200 for this machine. I offered the person $200, they accepted, deal was done. So now I got to figure out what's it going to take it to the next level. Is it going to take, we know it's going to take a switch on top because nobody's going to put their kit on it with no switch. We know we got to clean the carburetor, but that carburetor runs and idles. We know we're going to need a throttle cable, probably, maybe even a throttle. We'll do one step at a time on that. So we need a switch, we need a throttle cable, we need a front brake cable, and we know the front forks are bent. So we could probably take a stab at straightening them out. I'm not sure how much that's going to add or take away. One thing it will do is it will sell better with straight forks. Okay, so that is important. How fast can you turn your money? So keeping all these things in mind, we're going to need an air filter, we need to do an oil change. I want to ride it, I want to see how the clutch is, but cosmetically, I think we could probably get by with a really good detail. Maybe some touch-up paint. I'm not a big fan of touch-up paint if I can help it, because it's never going to match. It's never going to be the right shade of white or red or whatever you're working on. And once you paint one part, everything else looks like crap. You paint handlebars, the forks, the stems, the frame, the tank, everything looks bad. It shines like a new penny, they say. So I try to keep all of the same patina, if you will, on a machine. Yeah, I may paint one or two little things if it's something that really looks bad, like these wheels really look bad, but I promise you, if I paint that wheel white, the rest of the bike's going to look bad, and it's really not going to help it sell. That front wheel on the left side is pretty rough. It looks like that was the part that was probably, you know, left out in the elements the longest. You know, grab bar painting black probably wouldn't be too bad, but I wouldn't put a gloss on it. I'd put a semi-gloss so it looks clean, taken care of, but not new, not spray painted. So yeah, the bars, I think on this particular machine, I think the tank, we can clean the tank up on the exterior. I think the tank's going to come around. I mean, it's got bird droppings. It's literally been in a barn, but it looks so good on the inside. It really does look good. It's got some kind of gel or something down here, just really old gas in the bottom of it. So we're going to get that out and put some vinegar in it and clean it up. The plastics are really good. I was really pleased about that. One little, just barely little crack right there in that edge, but other than that, they look perfect. They still have the little nipples here in the front to lock them into position. Outstanding. I've never taken one apart, as y'all saw in the video. I was kind of taking my time with it. I think the worst thing we really got to contend with is, I think, the forks. But that's it. That's assessing a flip machine, if you will, is you got to know what it's worth, what you can get for it before you ever go look at it. What's the market? Once you establish that, then you kind of work backwards from that, because that's the max. So I like to take that and cut it in half. If this is $1,500 machine, then I'm going to work at a $750 all-in price. So I've got to fix it and buy it for $750. I paid $200 for it. That leaves me, what, $500 to fix it. I can do a lot for $500. 5, 6, 7, 50. Yeah, that's right. So we have $500 to put into this machine to get the most bang for the buck. I think cleaning it up before we really buy any hard parts, except for probably the front forks, brake cables, throttle cable, you got to have those. There ain't no way around it. We ain't even put a spark plug in it, y'all. Spark plug, change the oil. It's going to need an air filter. I just took the air box off. I'm sure that filter wasn't any good. Wow, that's great. That is great. You know, if you work fast, probably 2 weeks. You know, a week to assess it, get it running, order parts, a week to put the parts on, and then sell it. I think it'll sell quick at $1,500 running and riding, a lot faster than it would sell for $700 not running and riding. But it's tripled its value because it runs. And that's the reason I do it the way I do. I don't spend any money until I assess it and I know for sure that it's going to be good money spent. So I went in and made a list of parts I think we needed, and the first person I always call when I get my hands on a Mini is Josh Yule. He runs a business where he actually restores these back to like showroom condition, and so he laughs when I call, but that's okay. That's okay. He is the go-to person if you're needing Mini parts from the early 60s all the way through the 90s, like on this one. A lot of these parts cross over for 10 years or so. So give him a look, if you will. His name again is Josh Yule. He runs vintage he runs vintage Honda Minis out of South Florida, and it's just, if anytime I get my hands on a Mini, that's my first call. So I called Josh and we talked a little bit, and got a list of parts together, and they'll be on their way. So next time you see this, we'll probably be tearing it apart. As you saw, it came out really good. I think we're gonna have to do some deep cleaning on these plastics. I'm gonna take it easy though. You see I didn't hit these with the pressure washer. Same for the seat. We are gonna have to paint these bars and triples. They are just not gonna come clean. They are just too much. I think we're gonna end up probably having to sandblast them. But I think it's going to be worth the effort to really make them, because that's one of the first things you see on this particular machine is the wheels and the handlebars. And I think to do it justice, to really get the most out of this machine, I think that's what we're going to have to do. I just don't see us getting top dollar for it in the condition that it looks now, running and driving regardless. But yeah, these front wheel is definitely... It's just surface rust. There's no leaks or holes or anything like that, but it is rough. So we're going to take those down. This fork is clearly bent. We got a set of forks already on the way, and a lot of used Honda parts, OE parts mainly. New cables, new carb cable, new brake cable, new forks, new tires, new tubes. We got a flat in the rear, but the front's good. Let's see, what else do we have? That should take care of it. That should take care of it. And as for dollars and cents, we'll do a wrap up on the end of this one as we get ready to sell it. That's it. That's a Will It Run, y'all. Will It Run Z50 style, Z50R. So there you go. Thanks for watching. As always, please like and share, subscribe. I appreciate it. It helps the channel in a lot of different ways. And it's free. Y'all can be cheap like me. You can subscribe to the channel for free. Just click the little subscribe button down there, and notifications bell if you want to keep up. I try to post every week, every 2 weeks for sure.